Hi, this is Catherine. This is Taking Tea with Catherine. This is Sleepy Time Sinus Soothers, which, not my favorite tea, as I always say, but it's helpful because my sinuses once again need soothing. I had to delay making this TBR video because my sinuses were so bad this week. I think it was a cold. I know it wasn't COVID. I was tested. uh, and I'm still sniffling. Sorry about that. I'll try to keep it low. But I sounded so bad. I said, I don't want to share that with you guys. If it's a little nasal, that's okay. But oh my goodness, it was, I sounded, ugh. Anyway, so now I'm as ready as I'll ever be. And I've got something to soothe me in the meantime. But, yeah, I'm still sniffly. But I have a TBR for you all that is a little different than March because the March TBR, I decided to not really show you any books that I plan to read because I wanted to take the pressure off of me. And this month I don't mind putting a little pressure on because it's still kind of with my own way, By which I mean it's a lot of books that I've already started, even if I didn't start too far. Like even if I was only a couple of chapters in. So a lot of these are just books I would like to continue with in the month of April, some of which I finished earlier months and months ago, and some of which I just started very recently. There's a couple here that are parts of group reads that I really do want to finish this month. And then there's a bunch that I would like to. So it's not really too many deadlines, just happily going along. I wanted to do a major cleanup, by which I mean I finish a lot of the books that I've been currently reading in April and don't start any new ones. But I thought I'm going to procrastinate again and put that off until June, I think. I think June is usually a good month for me to do a cleanup because it's right before Jane Austen July. And April is not. So I will start by two books that I have that are part of group reads, so I really want to read them. And they are both actually parts of groups that Kate Howe organizes. So she's just really good at leading discussions, so it's nice to be a part of them. And this one is a reread. I have been trying to incorporate rereads into my reading the past year or so, even more so. And I've been doing well with that. And this, I think, is my first Charles Dickens reread. I think. And I've reconciled with him because for a number of years I could not finish one of his books. I love Dickens in a lot of ways, but I don't know, we had a bit of a problem. And then I read A Tale of Two Cities and we were friends again. I don't know when I'm going to finish Dombey and Son. That's an ongoing one for me. But this one is tried and true. I know I loved it or very much liked it. And this is David Copperfield. This picture is a painting that was from like the later 1800s, so not exactly Charles Dickens' time, but I mean, who's going to analyze that, right? I do like it. This volume is one that I picked up at the bookseller, which is the lower level of one of the public libraries in Manhattan. And if you watched my previous video with my sister, we went there and bought a bunch of books. They are really good at classics, and I have a stack I'm going to show you guys in a future video, but this is just one that I have. And what happened was when I realized that I was going to be rereading David Copperfield, I said, oh yeah, well that's fine, I have that. And I looked through my books and I said, I don't have it. I don't have it. What happened? So I found a volume that I had. It was like a 3-in-1, one of these, I guess they call it omnibus things, which has David Copperfield, The Old Curiosity Shop, and Hard Times. The other two books are books that I still haven't gone through. I do have a copy of Hard Times somewhere, of paperback, but I tried to just start it, and it was like a big book with small letters. There was no way I was going to really comfortably read it. So I said, if I find a good paperback version of it while I'm out in my shopping with my sister or wherever I am, I'm going to pick it up. If not, I'll get it from the library. Mission accomplished. So this is a Signet classic. I have a number of them, so it will join that group. And yeah, it's the print is readable enough. for my eyes, and the size of it is good for my hands. So that's all that matters. Okay, and then I have a book that I took out from the library. So, speaking of my sister visiting, when she was visiting, I found out, I got a notification that this book was waiting for me at the Queen's Library, which is usually the library that's closest to where I live, but the branch closest to me, as I've complained about recently, has closed for renovations until fall of 2023. So I started putting books when I try to avoid putting books on hold of the Queen's Library right now, but there's a lot of books that are not for some reason available in the New York Public Library. So I'm making do. And I know you're going to say, well, you have enough books, you don't need. But when it comes to group reads that I want to participate in, sometimes I just need to get it from the library if it's available. This one was, it was ready in, I don't know, a couple weeks, a week ago, I guess. And my sister and I were heading over to meet my other sister. Nice reunion of the three of us. It was actually quite lovely. And if we took one direction, this library was on the way. So we stopped there. I took a book and I said, this, that was wrapped up in my account name, that was with my name on it and everything. And I said, oh, this seems lighter than what I expected. And it was a Thomas Hardy book. It was actually a Thomas Hardy book that I've been looking for, but it wasn't the book I put on hold. So I had to show it. Someone had switched it. So they gave me the right. They're very helpful there, actually. The people who work at this library are very helpful. So the book in question that I was actually looking for was A Girl of the Limberlost by Stratton Porter. I know there's a first name there. Jean Stratton Porter. Illustrations by, I can't say it, but anyway, that's one of the illustrations. We only have a few black and white, but yeah, I don't know anything about this book, like anything. So I'm gonna find out. It's part of the Kindred Spirits book group, whatever. And so far, it's been a really fun time reading books. Every book has been a hit for me, so I hope this one is too. Now, I keep clapping my hands. I don't know. This has become a new habit of mine. La 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 la. Clap. That's not like me. But anyway, next, here are some books that I began and that I think I want to continue with. I think I have it not size order, but some order. There's no order. A lot of these are library books, but not all. So I realized in the month of March, although I did basically participate in March Mystery Madness and I have to do a wrap up, I realized I didn't read Agatha Christie, and I felt so bereft. I also haven't read a couple other people I plan to read, but I really felt sad because I missed Agatha Christie. And when my sister was over, I'm going to constantly refer to my sister visiting, but it was really a fun visit, and she also made it a very bookish visit. One evening, or was it 2 evenings? Definitely one evening, we started watching the adaptation from the 1980s. I forgot the name of the actress, Joan Hicks or Joan Hickson. Oh dear. Anyway, she played Miss Marple in 1980s. She's, everybody has their Poirot and their Miss Marple and their Sherlock Holmes. She's my Miss Marple. She's the one I grew up on. We used to drink mostly herbal tea in the evening and then watch Miss Marple. So it also was tied up with tea. And it was, 4:50 from Paddington, in which a woman is on a train and she sees a murder. When there's a train passing by, she can't really see who the murderer is, but she sees a murder. She knows she did. So no one believes her, but of course she goes to see her good friend Jane Marple, who does believe her, and it goes from there. So that was the story. We saw, I don't know, maybe half of it, and then we didn't watch the rest. But I think I have 2 versions of this book in my house. But I decided to pick the paperback version because it's light and easy. I've had this one for 1,000,000 years. Actually, I've had both copies for 1,000,000 years. But this has a different title. Why does Agatha Christie, if you guys know anything about records, does Agatha Christie have the record for the most varied titles of her books? I mean, almost every book she comes out with is like also known as, sometimes because some of the titles were I guess, offensive in some way, but some of them really weren't. 450 from Paddison. What am I saying? Paddington. Did I say Patterson before? Paddington. 450 from Paddington. Um, Goodness sakes. Um, Sounds like a good enough title. But this one is called What Mrs. McGillicuddy Saw, which I also like the name of because I always think of I Love Lucy, Lucy McGillicuddy. So I don't mind that, but it's just weird because it says even here, original British title. So I guess they had different American titles. I don't know. But this is just a paperback that I've had in my, this is the back of it, a paperback that I've had in my apartment since I did not buy it. So it must have been one of my parents or maybe my older sister. But I think it might have been one of my parents' books. I don't know how we got this book, but I have it now. It is possible that this is a reread because when I remember in college, I decided to read through the Agatha Christie's that we had. So I probably read this one, but I don't want to even say how long that was, but it was definitely the early 90s, mid 90s, let's say mid 90s. So it's been long enough to not really remember much. So yeah, I started it, and just a few pages in, I was reading it on a train because it's always fun to read things that happen on a train. And I like it so far. The next one is another volume of a book that I've had for some time. Not as long, not like 20, 30 years ago. But this one, I've had at least 15 years, probably more. When we used to have in Midtown, not far from where my sister and I worked, we had a library sale, a permanent library sale at the time. And I picked up a lot of books. So, I mean, lunchtime was always a fun adventure for me. And this is one of the volumes I picked up. And I always meant to read it. And I've only read a chapter or so. And it seems good so far. I hope I can continue with it. I just heard that Ken Burns is coming out this month with a documentary about, what else does he come out with? Documentary about Benjamin Franklin, who I know a little about. He's usually more of a, co-star in the things that I've been reading. Like when I read the John Adams biography last year, such a good book. He appeared in there, of course. But I've never read anything that just centered on him. So I have his autobiography. So I thought, this is a cute little volume. I can carry it around with me. And I don't want to beat it up, but I'm not too worried about damaging it because it is an ex-library copy. It is from the Maimonides, the library, I guess, from the Maimonides Hospital. So, yeah, I hope I like it, but I'm not going to be worried too much because I didn't, I bought it for $150. So if I really hate it, it's not a big deal. Next is a book that I have been reading for a number of months, and I've been really trying to get back to it. But, so many books. But then, of course, my sister was talking about Trollope so much, and I was like, I gotta get back to Trollope. I love Trollope so much too, but why am I not reading Trollope? So, you've seen this probably if you've watched enough of my videos, and if not, hey, welcome. This is the last Chronicle of Barset. It is the last book in the Barsetshire series, and I've enjoyed it so far. Pretty much all the characters in the series are converging to one story, and yeah, I like it. So I'm going to keep going with that. When I finally do my wrap up, you will see I read a book about a historical fiction, biographical fiction about Sylvia Beach, who started the original Shakespeare and Company bookshop in Paris, which is, or was, and is, but it's a different place, different owners now, but still. It's an English language bookshop in Paris, which in the 1920s was very much in demand because there were so many Americans, mostly Americans, but other English-speaking persons who were living in Paris for various reasons, and a lot of writers and artists. So they would love, some of them learned French, but a lot of them probably didn't read French as well as they did English. So great place to have a business like that. So the novel was good, and I'll talk about that in the future. But then I thought I had a book that was related to it that was nonfiction. And it turned out, yes, I have Sylvia Beach's autobiography. And it just confused me because it had this number 12 on here. I don't know why. I thought it was at 12th of something. I thought it was like a journal of some sort. It confused me. I'm easily confused, but it is her autobiography. I am trying to get past the fact that despite happily buying it for $1, someone wrote and underlined badly in here. So it's a little annoying, but again, you get what you pay for. So far, it's an interesting enough story, so I hope to continue in this book. No big rush. This is a book that I've made a little progress in. I heard about it, I think I was on Instagram and I saw a picture of it and thought, okay. I've read Jane Austen Book Club by Karen Joy Fowler, and I remember liking it. I have it somewhere. Oh, that was not a pretty picture. Welcome to the warm weather. I have it somewhere upstairs, I call it. But I have to reread it one day, but not today. And this book came out last month, and I also picked it up at the library in the city when I was with my sister. So a lot of these things, like I said, have memories of my sister. I miss her already. But this is a book based, well, it's called Booth, a novel. So it's based on the Booth family. If you're not familiar with American history, or even if you're not very familiar with American history, usually if you need to know like 5 facts about America, you'll probably have learned about Lincoln's assassination. And he was assassinated by a man called John Wilkes Booth. He had a brother, actually 2 brothers, who were actors, one of which was kind of well known as well. And he has in goodness sakes, I'm spluttering. In Central Park, there is some kind of like statue or bust or whatever it is of Shakespeare, and he was one of the contributing people behind that. And so anyway, I know that's a bit of a ramble, but the point I'm trying to make is that we always think of this one person who killed the president, which is a terrible thing to happen, but there was a whole family. So basically this is a history of that family, but in novel form. So far I like it. If it takes a turn that I don't like, I can always discontinue it, but I really like the cover as well. It's pretty, right? I'm sure I will understand the cover a little more as I keep going. And in case you think I'm done with mysteries, I'm never done with mysteries. I'm reading the second book in, I don't know if there's a name for the series, but it's a series by S.J. Bennett about Queen Elizabeth II investigating murders. I guess other crimes perhaps too. And the first one I really enjoyed. And so the second one came out and I thought, oh, I'm going to take it out of the library. I read a few pages in. It's all the Queen's men. There is a missing painting. I think at Buckingham Palace it's missing. And there's already a body that's turned up. I will let you know more. Yeah. I will. You know what? It's not just my sinuses that got screwed up. I think my whole brain got screwed up by this cold. I will let you know more about this as it goes along, hopefully. So those are all the books that I made some progress with. And there are 2 more books I'm going to show you, and they are books that I haven't started, but would really like to this month. And this first one I just found in the library, and it's a memoir. I like memoirs. I like books about books. I like books about bookshops. So, yeah, and that's all I'm going to say about it besides the title. That is Shelf Life, goodness, Chronicles of a Cairo Bookseller by Nadia Wassef. So that's basically all I know about it so far. It sounds like an interesting story though, and it's got a blurb or, well, few sentences from Jenny Lawson, who I enjoy her books as well. So hopefully it will be good. And again, we'll let you know as we go along. Last but not least, I think this would be a good one to start, having reread David Copperfield. And that is The Unlikely Escape of Uriah Heep. I've had this out for almost, well, not out, I bought it about a year ago. And it says, For his entire life, Charlie Sutherland has concealed an unusual ability he can't quite control. He can bring characters from books into the real world. But when literary characters start causing trouble throughout the city and threatening to destroy the world, he learns he's not the only one with his ability. Now it's up to Charlie and his reluctant older brother Rob to stop them, hopefully before they reach the end. I don't know why, but this sounds pretty fun. It reminds me of Jasper Fforde. It also reminds me of the Anna James books, the Pages and Co. Because it sounds like that. Matilda Tilly Pages and her adventures. And it even has like a little library, one of those little cards that they used to have when you would check things out. And I think that's so cute. Oh my goodness. I'm not going to get all wrapped up in that. But yeah, I've been really wanting to get to it for a million years at this point. And knowing that I'm going to read David Copperfield, I don't even know if I'll wait till I finish it. Either way, I'm really excited about it. So I think I've talked enough about the books that I plan to read in April. Let me know down below if you plan to read any similar books or whatever you have planned for April and what you think of any of these particular books. If there's any that you think that I should really, really, really stop and do nothing but read that one. There will be other books that I'll probably pick up as well because my mind is all over the place. But at least my sinuses are not as bad. So until next time, this is Catherine at Taking Tea with Catherine. Have a lovely tea and bookville day. Bye.